The Harvest Show, where faith makes a world of difference.
Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to The Harvest Show. We have a fantastic show lined up for you. For starters, author and speaker Courtney Westlake shares what her family discovered about true beauty while raising a child with physical differences. Plus, are you winning the battle for your own time? Pastor Mark Lantz makes the case for living the simple life, but is it really that simple? Chuck, what do you say? Is it that simple to live a simple life?
I'm going to have to pay attention because I don't think that's the case, at least for me these days, but that's all right. I appreciate the life that I have.
I know we all do, especially as we remember the 15th anniversary of 9/11. You know, Chuck, every generation is defined by something in history that takes place. If you talk with my mom today, she can tell you what she was doing and where she was when President Kennedy was assassinated and when Martin Luther King was assassinated. And here we have the 15th anniversary of the 9/11 terror attacks and how it has impacted not only our country, but you know, other citizens abroad in other countries. Do you remember what you were doing?
Oh, absolutely. And yesterday's 15th commemoration, the day was very similar around here as to like it was in 2001. And certainly I remember that day I was driving to get some lab work done and heard on the radio that a plane had hit the first tower. And when I heard that a plane had hit the first tower, I didn't think that it was a commercial jet. I thought, well, it's maybe a private plane or something like that, and noteworthy, sad, but not certainly to the scale that we found that it would be later on. And it was obviously a very somber day yesterday. Also an interesting mix in terms of the National Football League commemorating the event with videos from former President Bush and the current President Barack Obama, but also these protests that continue during the national anthem by a variety of NFL players who are trying to point out various injustices in our country that they see and using the anthem as a forum for that. I'm somewhat mixed on that. I appreciate the fact that every individual has a right to express themselves. We're given that by the Constitution. But I'm not sure that the anthem on 9/11 is the time to do that.
I share your exact same feelings, Chuck. I just felt like, you know, this was a time to remember, especially those family members who have had to go on and live their lives as a result of, you know, 9/11 and what has happened there. What has happened around our country and other parts, because the 3,000 people who died weren't just Americans. They were people from other countries as well. So I'm going to share the same thought about using the anthem to protest something. And you're right, injustice should be brought to the forefront. We should know about it. But I didn't feel like the anthem was the right thing to use to make that point.
Or if you want to wait another week, that's fine. But on 9/11, it's not about you. It's about remembering those people who were just going about their daily business, who wound up perishing because they happened to be American.
That's right, and we want to know what you think about that, the protests with the anthem, all that's going on in the country. We want to hear from you. Brian Bush is in Jerusalem with an update on that Syrian truce. What do you have for us, Brian?
Everybody, I'm going to have the latest coming from Syria, a lot of anticipation there, as well as developments that are happening here in Israel. So don't go anywhere. Chuck Freeby is next with the World News.
All right, thank you, Brian. It is Monday, September 12, 2016, and here is what's happening in your world. There is a new storyline in the U.S. presidential campaign. Questions about the health of Democrat nominee Hillary Clinton. Clinton fainted and left Sunday's 9/11 memorial ceremony, raising new questions about whether she is physically fit for the presidency. Her health has been a lingering source of speculation among her critics, dating to well before she announced her second White House campaign. It also raises, once again, trust questions for Clinton, as she has disclosed only a limited amount of information about her medical history. Asian Pacific stocks tumbled today as investors reacted to comments last week from a Fed official saying interest rates could rise soon. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index lost nearly 3%. The Australian market lost over $26 billion in value. It may not be pretty on Wall Street today either. The Dow Jones futures are down 117 points ahead of the opening bell. A car bombing at a police checkpoint in eastern Turkey today wounded 27 people. The blast happened not far from the ruling party headquarters in the governor's office in the eastern province of Van. Turkey has suffered a string of attacks in recent months from both Kurdish militants as well as the Islamic State group, resulting in dozens of casualties. 5.7 magnitude earthquake shook the Lake Victoria region of East Africa Saturday, killing at least 16 people in Tanzania. Tanzania's Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa visited injured victims of the earthquake in Bukoba, calling for calm. It is the first earthquake in that region in about a dozen years. And we finish our world tour in South America. Thousands of people took to the streets of Brazil's biggest city Sunday, demanding new presidential elections and the removal of the country's current leader, Michel Temer, holding banners and chanting "Temer out." The demonstrators marched from the famous Paulista Avenue in downtown Sao Paulo. Dilma Rousseff, who was ousted 2 weeks ago in a contentious Senate vote, and Temer, Rousseff's vice president, took over as president. Rousseff's supporters say the move was an injustice and illegitimate. Coming up later, Pastor Mark Lantz with today's Motivational Minute. But up next, author and speaker Courtney Westlake shares how her family discovered a different kind of beautiful in their lives. We're right back with more Harvest after this.
Dr. Lester Sumrall was given a global vision to reach 1 million souls every day for Jesus Christ. To fulfill his God-given assignment, he began establishing the many outreaches of LeSEA Broadcasting. Today, the ministry reaches millions of people in more than 190 nations through the power of television, radio, free Bibles, shortwave satellite, and prayer line. But we need your help to reach millions more. Will you join Partners in Faith and help us spread the gospel around the world? Will you commit to giving a monthly gift of $25, $50, $100 or more? Dr. Sumrall knew he couldn't fulfill his vision without the help of thousands of partners. But don't wait. Become a partner in faith today. Call 1-800-365-3732 or visit LeSEA.com to give safe and secure online. The Bible says he who wins souls is wise. Make the wise choice today to become a partner in faith and help us win souls for Jesus.
Courtney Westlake joins us again today to talk about a different, beautiful, discovering and celebrating beauty in places you never expected. The Westlake family story has been featured on CBS News, the Today Show, and a host of other online venues. Good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
We're here to kind of hear your story and family story about Brenna, your daughter who came in just a few years ago, and in that delivery room, immediately you knew something was not right because there was a lot of buzz going on when she was delivered.
Yes, we had a very typical pregnancy, and so when she was delivered and the staff got very frantic and confused, I became very confused. My husband, Evan, almost fainted at the sight of her, and she was taken almost immediately to the neonatal intensive care unit.
And what was the sight there? I mean, how did Brenna look upon her delivery?
She was born with these plaques. They were almost white, looked like armor. Her eyelids were flipped inside out, and her fingers and toes were shortened and clenched, and you could barely see her ears.
And what's the condition that she was born with?
It's called Harlequin ichthyosis. There are about 28 different kinds of ichthyosis, and Harlequin is the most severe.
Now, we had a child born who was taken to the NICU right away, so I kind of understand what you went through at that time, but perhaps you can verbalize it. What kind of thoughts are going through your mind as your child, typically, you know, mom gets the child and they sit there and they swaddle. That's not the case when you have a child taken to the NICU. What's going through your mind?
I was at a different hospital, so I was very confused. I just wanted to know what was going on. And at first, when I heard skin condition, I really just thought maybe she would look different. I really had no idea about how critical this condition was.
How long did it take before you finally found out what it was and what needed to be done?
Well, we were very lucky that our doctor texted a picture to a dermatologist right away, and so he was able to diagnose it. So we had a very quick diagnosis But, you know, it was a few days later, we were talking with the medical staff of the NICU, and they were talking more about pain management than about taking her home. And that's when I really began to realize how critical she was.
And how long did Brenna spend in the hospital before being able to go home with Mom and Dad?
She was in there for about 6 weeks, and then she was hospitalized another, you know, maybe 4 times that first year of life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So there were several moments where you really had to maybe get on your knees and ask the Lord for some serious help.
Yes, Evan and I, we kind of say we reached a point where there was nowhere to look but up at God and rely on Him in everything that we were doing and just trust Him that He had a great plan for her.
Now you say to trust Him, but a lot of our viewers will tell you, well, that's easier said than done.
Yes.
When do you feel like the trust really set in, where you felt like, okay, God is in control of this?
Well, I feel like when she was about 5 days old, she got very critically ill, and I really have never felt God's presence more strongly than in her NICU pod that night. And I really think after that, it was such a journey every day of choosing to trust God. It really is an ongoing process and a journey.
You started immediately blogging and journaling, which became, you said, was therapeutic for you and very helpful for others.
Yes.
What was it in that process that you found kind of encouraging and emotionally uplifting?
I had so many emotions going on. And so I feel like getting that out, exploring my emotions, and then hearing back from others who said, me too, that's how I feel too. And that was just so healing and so comforting to me.
Well, when those responses, were they coming from, I mean, how far and wide did they come in from?
All over the world.
Wow.
I mean, we had people contact us from just about every country you could think of.
That's amazing.
In the book, you talk about a turquoise dress and an accident that happened that kind of changed your perspective on things. Can you relate that story for our viewers?
So Brenna wears a very thick lotion called Aquaphor, and it's great for her skin, but it's horrible for laundry. And so I was on my way to a wedding, and I had a turquoise dress on, and I had just picked her up and then handed her over to my parents who were going to be babysitting, and I realized that I had a big Aquaphor stain on the side of my dress. And I quickly changed. I really wanted to wear that dress, but I said, no big deal. I quickly changed, and then I realized how much my heart was changing in that moment, because there was definitely a time in her early days where I would have cried over that stain. I would have considered that dress ruined. And I really realized how, you know, stains only have the power to ruin what we let them.
So if we let go, then and don't let it bother us,
right.
we're okay. Now, a different, beautiful, discovering and celebrating beauty in places you never expected, full of the little vignettes and the little life lessons that you learned along the way, but you also found it important, or thought it important, to bring in the stories of other families. How did you go about finding those stories and selecting what you were going to share with the world?
Ever since I started blogging, I really was able to connect with other families and other families who were going through similar experiences and also different experiences. So I really feel like we have all been able to learn from each other, and that's why I thought it was really important to include other stories in the book.
And what are one or two of your favorites?
Two of my favorite stories?
Yeah.
I love the turquoise dress, and I love the story. At first, everyone reads it thinking, oh no, this is going to be a bad story. We had a cousin who we had never met before, and she told me that Brenna's face was creeping her out. And her mom handled it so well that I wanted to share that story as kind of an example for other parents of how to really own that and to make it right. And she continued to sit there, and she let us converse. And by the end of the night, the little girl said, she's so cute.
But you bring up a good point there, because at least the little girl went to her mother and didn't go to Brenna and say, your face is creeping me out.
Yes.
Not everybody is that kind.
Right.
How have you taught Brenna how to deal with the unkindness of people?
Well, we always tell her, you know, you have special skin, and that's how God made you. And so for her, she's very confident in that. And I think that will really just pave the way for any questions and comments. And I know she's going to get some very hurtful comments. She already has.
Sure.
And I just hope that she can hold on to that self-confidence and assurance that this is how she was created, to look and to be.
When it comes to your aspirations or desire for what a different, beautiful, this message, which we desperately need to have reinforced in our world today, what are your expectations with respect to how you want people to respond or to get out of this message?
I think my greatest hope is that we can all begin to realize we're all so different. There is no normal.
That's great, right there. There is no normal.
Brenna is not the different one just because she looks different. We are all so different. We are all created differently in God's image. And what unites us is our shared humanity, the fact that God created us all. And I just hope that people can begin to see that we are all different and to begin to learn about each other more so that we can appreciate our differences and start to celebrate that.
And I like what you shared last time with us about going beyond what's visible in the mirror to take time and connect with people on a more intimate or heart-to-heart basis.
Yeah, we just need to set our mirrors down. There's, when we continue just to look in the mirror, all we do is focus on ourselves and how we look, and put the mirror aside, get to know each other's stories so that we can see into their hearts.
One quick thing before we say goodbye today, Courtney. For parents that are watching that have kids who, run the spectrum from near normal to just completely different, let's put it that way, how would you encourage a parent who's maybe finding it difficult? Maybe it's a physical condition, maybe it's a mental issue or a psychological issue that their child is dealing with. What would you say to encourage them?
I think there's always good and beauty that can be found in every situation. And even on the really hard days, we can begin to find the good in that. And that's when we can start to really build a life of gratitude, no matter what comes our way, knowing that God is for us, that He is with us. And just, give yourself a lot of grace and give others a lot of grace. This is a tough journey.
Thank you so much for joining us. Courtney Westlake, our guest today, author of A Different Beautiful, Discovering and Celebrating Beauty in Places You Never Expected. To connect with Courtney, you can go to CourtneyWestlake.com, or as always, go to harvest-tv.com, our website. Find an easy way to connect there. We'll be back in just a minute.
It only takes $6 to feed one of these children for a whole month. That's why we're asking you to become part of Every Child, Every Day. These children have fled the horrors of war from South Sudan, but they're receiving a daily meal, and they're receiving not just food, but the hope of a brighter future. Whatever it is that you can do, we need your help today because the children keep coming out of South Sudan, and we need to feed them. We can't say to one, you can have lunch today, but sorry, no lunch for you.
If you want to do more and be more, but your stamina runs out of steam, you need the top-selling Essential Vitamin Mineral Pack by Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez. The Doctor's Making Healthy Choices Essential Pack costs only $59.95, but the health benefits are priceless. You get mineral concentrate, an unsurpassed formula of trace minerals essential to good health. Omega-3 for overall vascular support and healthy brain function. Vita Sprouts, a superior form of multivitamins, and you get Sol UC for a strong immune system. That's mineral concentrate, omega-3, Vita Sprouts, and Sol UC. An incredible value for only $59.95. And if you act now, shipping is free. Call 1-800-965-2345 or go to mhclife.com to get the Doctor's Essential Pack from Making Healthy Choices. That's 1-800-965-2345 or mhclife.com.
Did you know that over the course of an average American's life, they will spend 3.6 years eating, 25 years sleeping, 2 entire years watching TV commercials, and 3 months sitting in traffic. Now, maybe you're not average, but I believe it's worth asking the question, if what you're doing every day is leading you to live an above average lifestyle, how much time do you spend on things that energize you, that give you passion for life? I found that people who live life with purpose and passion, they spend their time learning new things, investing in meaningful relationships. They work a job about which they are passionate. And the same can be true for you. If you've lost your zest for life, it's time to take a look how you're spending your time. Put down the bag of chips and pick up a book. Turn off the TV and turn on a conversation with your family. Find something to do that gives you energy in life. You only have one life. Live it well. Fill it with the right stuff. Start today and make this the greatest week of your life.
Got Facebook? Follow The Harvest Show.
Comment and share your opinions on current events.
See new after the show guest interviews.
Watch my updates and inspiration from Israel exclusively for Facebook.
Facebook.com/The Harvest Show. Like us today.
Hello, everyone. In Syria, in just a few hours from now, a 10-day truce is due to begin at sunset. Co-sponsored by both the U.S. and Russia and agreed upon by Syria's President Bashar al-Assad, the deal has three main aims: temporarily stop the fighting, allow humanitarian supplies to flow, and unify forces to rid Syria of Islamic State and other Islamic jihadist groups like Jabhat Fatah al-Sham. It is not known if rebel groups will abide, particularly in light of this weekend's Syrian government airstrikes on several rebel-held areas that killed more than 100 people. The annual Hajj pilgrimage to Islamic holy places in Saudi Arabia hit its climax yesterday. 1.5 million Muslims gathered at Mount Arafat to offer day-long prayers and recitations of the Quran. The mount is where the Prophet Muhammad is believed to have delivered his last sermon. Hajj is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, which all Muslims are expected to perform at least once in their lifetime. Here in Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has compared Israeli Arabs in Israel to Jewish settlers in Palestinian territories. Mr. Netanyahu's comments outraged many, including Western diplomats, when he said the Palestinians desire to rid the West Bank of Jews, suggesting that those in the West who oppose Jewish settlements are supporting ethnic cleansing. The U.S. rebuked Mr. Netanyahu's comments, and Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas accused Israel of ethnic cleansing. And lastly, diplomats and Israeli officials joined American embassy staff to mark the 15th anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks with a memorial ceremony. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel stands shoulder to shoulder with America and has no greater ally. Friends, the Harvest Show will continue right after this.
Wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way, by taking heed to thy word. LeSEA Broadcasting is dedicated to getting thousands of free Bibles into the hands of young people around the world this year. Will you help? Call 1-800-365-3732 today.
Indeed, this is part of our focus for the last part of the year here at LeSEA Broadcasting. We are really trying to get Bibles into the hands of the people we serve through Feed the Hungry, and we have 3 key nations that we are focused on right now: Nicaragua, Honduras, and Uganda. And you see 2 different Bibles there. The Spanish one will go to the Spanish-speaking countries, and the English one, well, in Uganda, that's the language, so that will go there. But we need your help to make that happen. $5 will send 1 Bible, $25 sends 5 Bibles, and we're trying to put Bibles into the hands of the people that we serve in those countries through Feed the Hungry. So $50, though, will help send 20 Bibles. So you get a kind of a more bang for your buck right there. Mm-hmm. And, or actually $100 for 20 Bibles. They're messing me up with the math here.
But we get the picture, Chuck. You know, when we send in and donate to the Ministry of LeSEA Broadcasting, we are able to send Bibles around the world or to those specific nations, as you had just said. But, you know, what I like about this is that we're putting the Bible into the hand of a hungry child.
Yes.
We have teamed up with Feed the Hungry. You know, we've been sending Bibles around the world for years now. We've sent more than 700,000 Bibles to people in other nations. But now this is specific. We're focused on not only meeting the physical needs of children who are starving in Uganda and Honduras and other places, but we're also feeding them spiritually. And that's why we're asking people, whether you do the math or not, here's the bottom line. When you give to the Ministry of LeSEA Broadcasting and Feed the Hungry, you're putting Bibles into the hands of children who need them, and you're sharing the gospel.
Now, we don't want to forget about our viewers who are calling to the prayer line, 1-800-365-3732. A lot of prayer requests came in over the weekend. We've got some to share.
Okay, so Carol says her fiance broke up with her on her birthday, and on Facebook at that, she needs a healing from that. And Nutu from Nigeria is asking us to pray for his business and a much needed financial breakthrough. Donna is asking us to pray for her as she waits for God's healing power to free her from chronic leukemia and painful arthritis.
Obviously, a lot of people going through a lot of hurts. We turn to our Heavenly Father and we say, Father, please hear the cry of your people. We know that you are a good and merciful God. We experience your mercy every day. Help us to clean our hearts and to turn to you and to bring all of our problems to you and trust in you that you will take care of them. For you are Lord forever and ever. Amen. And we'll see you tomorrow on another edition of Harvest.
What if I told you that there's a place full of loved ones' photos that gets prayed for regularly? Prayer offers a direct line to God, so who couldn't use a little more of it? Getting yourself or your loved ones on this wall is as easy as click and send. The chapel at LeSEA Prayer Line has a wall of love that's waiting to be filled up. Just email your pictures to prayer@lesea.com. That's it. Our chapel has been a focal point for prayer for the last 18 years. Let our prayer team pray for you.
You know, there are so few things in this world that you can count on anymore, especially when it comes to our financial future and planning for retirement. We live in a dynamic world defined by change, but when it comes to securing our retirement income, we want stability, not uncertainty. And that's why I consistently talk about charitable gift annuities. A gift annuity provides a safe and steady income stream which is fixed for life, and you are investing into changing lives for Jesus Christ at the same time. If you are over 49 and a half years of age and you have at least $10,000 in a savings account or CD, call us today. Let us show you how you can have at least one form of retirement income that you can count on. When you lay up your treasure in heaven, you can count on it being there, waiting for you. So call us today and let us help you have a secure income for the rest of your life.
The Harvest Show is produced by LeSEA Broadcasting and is viewer supported by people just like you. Thank you for inviting us into your home today.